Donations to the MDA Labor Day telethon that we used to have here on 3TV years ago are paying off in the form of life-saving treatments for muscular dystrophy. Last year at about this time, we showed you how Spinraza, a new drug, was helping to stop muscle loss in people with SMA. It's a type of muscular dystrophy. Well, now, just 1 year later, an even more promising drug was just approved, and it could be just in time to save the life of one very sweet Arizona baby. At 6 days old, Stella Lackey kicks her legs and moves her head side to side, taking in the new world around her.
So she was born and everything was great, and we saw no signs of anything wrong.
But by 6 weeks old, she could barely move her arms or legs or even cry. Her tiny belly pumping up and down as she worked to breathe. Losing strength by the day, Stella was diagnosed with spinal muscular atrophy, or SMA.
No new parent should have to ask a doctor how long their child has to live. And Dr. Burns right away told me, no, we're not going to talk about that because there's treatment now.
At 6 weeks old, Stella made history, becoming the first baby in Arizona to receive Zolgensma.
This is probably the biggest thing that I've seen in my 32-year career here.
Dr. Sandra Burns at Phoenix Children's Hospital says this just approved one-time dose gene therapy is a game changer. In clinical trials, babies diagnosed at a few months old were later able to feed themselves and breathe normally. And when diagnosed right at birth,
we're actually walking, running around, having backpacks, running down the floor, pushing elevator buttons. I mean, you know, in a disorder that used to be fatal by a year or two. So it's really quite striking.
So how about Stella?
Stella was diagnosed quite early. She was quite weak, and the response to this medicine has been dramatic in the sense that we're able to see improvement literally in the first week.
She was laying in her bassinet and moving her arm back and forth, and I had my face over there, and she touched my face for the first time ever on her own. And that was, I turned into a puddle because that's so little.
Just 2 months post-treatment, Stella is now crying louder, breathing easier.
It's the good stuff, huh? It's the good stuff, huh?
And gaining weight now that she can swallow again.
I noticed one that still blows my mind. She was laying in her crib, taking a nap. She wasn't napping, but she was put down to take a nap. Then I walk in and she snaps and looks right at me. And it was like,
the first time we saw her move her head that was big.
She's also moving her arms and legs again, even taking her first swim.
There you go, now you're moving your legs.
That is my hope, is that she's able to live as normal of a life as possible. It might not be walking, it might not be running or playing sports, but being able to adapt for the future to live as close to a normal of a life as possible. That's what I'm hopeful for.
Hopeful and grateful for the 24.8 milliliters that gave sweet Stella a fighting chance.
But she's doing quite well and just keeps getting stronger and stronger.
That she will continue to be strong and continue to change the world.
Okay, so this new drug is basically a gene that is missing in kids with SMA. It adds it to their body, and again, the most important takeaway here is that you've got to get it sooner rather than later. The sooner that it is added, the better it is able to work and the more strength these babies can hang on to. So that is one of the reasons that so many people right now are working to get SMA, this type of muscular dystrophy, added to the newborn screen. It is on the screen now in 7 states, and it's being considered here in Arizona. I think they're trying to find the funding for it. So some people say that could take another year or two, and Dr. Burns says that's horrific. That's the word he used, horrific, because he said babies born in Arizona should have the same, fighting chance as a baby born in Utah, where they have this on the screen. And so Dr. Burns, all these parents of children with SMA, they are going to keep fighting because they want future generations to have a chance to live,
right.
And to think those kinds of benefits from one dose.
From one dose.
That's remarkable.
It is remarkable. So if you want to know more about that, we've got a link along with the story on easyfamily.com. And if you want to support Stella and her family, check out Strong Like Stella on it.
Oh, she's beautiful.
And then you'll end up crying like me.
I know. What an incredible family.
A great story.
They really are.
Thank you, April, for getting their story.